I have a beer. I have a navel. Let's gaze into the abyss. Cheers. Welcome back, everybody, to me doing a weekly navel-gazing, although we missed one last week. And as you can hear, my voice is still somewhat fucked. And that means I'll try to keep it short and, yeah, do the usual thing, talk about like what I've been reading, what I plan to read this week, what I plan to do with videos, if I plan to do videos, that kind of stuff, and then I descend into madness, as always. So, well, let's get that started, right? What did I read recently? Well, I did recently finish my reread of Perdido Street Station, because we talked about the last part on Saturday. And, well, I've been reading some stuff on Friedrich Nietzsche and heroic individualism, because I still have an idea of where to go somewhere with a video on that. I have started reading what is it called? Generation Loss, the first in of three Cassnery novels by Elizabeth Hand, because, you know, I figured reading more Elizabeth Hand is a good idea, because, yeah, she writes great books, no one talks about them. Sounds right up my alley, right? So that's kind of what I did. I really want to read both Hild and Mennewood by Nicola Griffith. Mennewood is coming out tomorrow, so that's kind of the plan, to do those, and, well, talk about each of them, see where things are going with all of that. So expect some reading and talking about more Nicola Griffith novels real soon. I'm very excited about that. And beyond that, I'm still slowly making my way through Archaeologies of the Future, which is a book by Frederick Jameson on utopia and science fiction. It's really cool. He talks about you know, Kim Stanley Robinson novels, Ursula Le Guin novels, Philip K. Dick novels. Yeah, and it's always nice to see serious academics from outside the basic, you know, the outside the fantasy studies area. Just, you know, take genre fiction seriously, and Frederick Jameson is very good at that, so I'm really enjoying that specific book. And that's sort of like all the reading I did, and all the reading I plan to do, as I already mentioned, is, well, Hild and Mennewood, and I'll probably do a quick reread of the Venerable Bede's Clerical History of the Peoples of England, which, you know, some background, I guess, because I'm that kind of person. I need to know things to appreciate them. Which brings me to the videos. Well, I didn't make a video last week, for the obvious reason that I was first sick and didn't have a voice, and then, yeah, stuff happened and I didn't have time to do much of a video. I did, however, end up on, well, screens anyway, because we did the next monthly Marxist Malcontent live stream on Friday, for once, and I really had a lot of fun there. I really enjoyed it. It was one of the longer ones. I hope those of you who watched it and were there, thanks for showing up, thanks for being in the chat, I always appreciate that. I hope you had fun there as well. And then on Saturday we talked over on Angela's Do Unicorns Read channel about the end of Perdido Street Station, with Varsha from Reading by the Rainy Mountain, and Mary from Mary Reads to Live, and Jared the fantasy thinker, and Dan the black and blue collar reader, and, well, of course, Angela herself. And yeah, that was fun as well, because, you know, it's a good book. It's always worth talking about that book. So that's what I did. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot to talk about to mention that I'll obviously do another reread of Consider Phlebas, because the culture read-along should move onwards from Consider Phlebas to The Player of Games really soon. We'll just have to schedule the obvious, you know, hanging out and talking about the book part, which I hope to manage this week, although this week is kind of difficult for timing reasons. So that's all the videos that happened. None. Obviously, I made a video on escapism the week before, when we didn't have a weekly navel-gazing for technical reasons, because I did record one and then the audio failed me, and then I just was my voice was too destroyed to re-record it, and yeah. So yeah, I made a video about escapism and some of the issues I have with it, and I still really appreciate the video. I think it's probably one of the better ones I've made recently, so there's that. And do I plan to make videos this week? Well, we'll see. I'd love to. I really want to go back to making some videos, but the week is also going to be really short because I'm going to help some friends at a small-time heavy metal festival that is happening over the weekend. So I'll be out there in the wild from at least, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and possibly parts of Sunday as well, which makes it kind of hard to record videos or do anything on a computer for a while. So we'll see how well I am doing with that. But that's kind of sort of the plan. If I come up with a good idea for a video tomorrow or on Wednesday, then we'll definitely have that video, and I hope I come up with something. But fear not, I have been busy with ideas and projects and stuff like that, and that's sort of kind of where I want to move this discussion before we end it, which is the usual, I have no idea what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and so forth part of my life. Because, yeah, it's the usual thing of me trying to figure out where I am on the ever changing continuum between education, entertainment, and other bits and pieces that are this channel. Also the question, like, how much of me, like of my identity and my personality, is this channel? How much are other bits? Those of you who know me a bit better know that, heavy metal is and has always been a huge part of, heavy metal music has always been a huge part of my personality. You may know the fact that I have started a record label a while ago. It's still linked down there. But you have probably also noticed over the last couple of months that I haven't really talked much about it, haven't done much about it. That is because, ever since, last year, parts of my mental health declined so rapidly or aggressively, and things escalated in a way. I mean, obviously a lot of that stuff happened before, right? So don't worry. I'm aware of that, but that led to a very much of a sort of weird burnout, whatever you want to call it, blackout, and I'm slowly trying to make my way out of that. As you are also aware, because I've talked about it before, and it's an ongoing process, and I'm still working on that process. But it also means that I need to face questions, sometimes like legal questions, bureaucratic questions of like, yeah, what's the next step here legally? Am I still able to sort of revive the record label thing? Is this something that is salvageable? Do I want to salvage it? And if so, how would I make that more certain? And all of these things kind of combine once again, and that's one of my usual issues, right? Is that I'm incapable of making up my mind, because pressure is not good, I guess, is my point here. And you suddenly realize that, yes, it would be really easy. If I had 10,000 euro, I could totally restart the label right now and would probably work better because I've hopefully learned a few things. But I don't have that money, right? It's like, at the same time, I need to figure out where to go next to make at least some money, because, even I have to eat from time to time. This beer is unfortunately not free. and that's all these bits kind of come together. And all of that leads to that ongoing frustration. You may have gathered I'm a very frustrated person in a lot of ways that sometimes come through in my videos, whether it's the video on escapism, which tackles one of my ongoing frustrations, which is like, how do we talk about books now? How do we use fantasy and science fiction books? And how do those of us who partake actively in, the discourse on, say, Book Talk, whatever else you want to call it, Bookstagram, book, whatever, Facebook, you know what I mean. Like, how do we change or influence that ongoing discussion of how we use books, how we, whether we read them, whether we collect them for, the good pictures, why we read, all that stuff. And it's something that continues to frustrate me a lot, obviously. And it's something I keep on engaging with. And the escapism video is one result of that, I think. But it's not always just a checking in an ongoing process of changing my mind and moving forward in some weird direction. And I was really happy with it for several reasons. One of them is, of course, that it only took me 1 week to make that video. I had an idea while, taking a shower, and I'm like, oh, I do often have ideas under the shower. If this were OnlyFans, I would probably just record my my rambly shower monologues. But this is not, so you'll have to wait until I actually do something productive with the ideas I come up with when I take a shower. Which, may take a while. Sometimes it takes months and months and months. And with this one, I was really happy that I was able to actually find a better balance, possibly, between having an idea, doing research, and just spouting out my opinions. Because at the end of the day, my opinion didn't really change much from that first idea and structure in my brain to when I actually recorded the video. But I did definitely read a couple of books on the subject, so that that's sort of where I'm at, trying to figure out how to do this. Because as so often, this is a process in a lot of ways. Research happens here when I have ideas. I read something up. The question is like, how much of that do I need to do, and when am I ready for what this will be, for the video or whatever? When am I? When have I done enough? Or at what point can't I justify doing more research? Because obviously nothing more is added except of more facts in my brain, and facts in my brain are just facts in my brain, and unless I do something with them. And so in that regard, I was happy with the video. You may have noticed that I did in fact sneak in a bit about the culture industry there. I was very happy about that too, because I've built up this incredible block in my brain that keeps me from continuing on the Brandon Sanderson publication video, because I need to talk about the culture industry by Theodore Adorno, and I'm a bit scared about that. But I managed to sneak it into a different video, so I'm happy about that. Maybe it's helping. We will see. But all of that kind of obviously builds up to this. The ongoing hovering question over my entire life is like, who am I and what am I actually trying to do here? And is this, do I have any plans on how to actually survive the next years? How to pay for food, rent, and shit like that? Like, all of these are weird questions that kind of combine into what I'm doing, like my ongoing public or semi-public, or whatever you want to call it, performance, I guess, is me trying to figure out how to make enough money to pay for rent and food and shit like that. And sometimes I have great ideas, and sometimes I just stop doing anything and just fall, stop talking to the world for a couple of weeks or whatever. And I'm trying to normalize a lot of that. So speaking about all of that, is that I have in fact a new project. I will not yet talk about what it is publicly, but it means I'll do some additional and different work. It may involve writing stuff, and I've struggled with that for a while. It's like sometimes I want to write books, or not books, but maybe just an article or something, because I can't script my videos, right? It's like I can't read a script, so I just improvise and riff in front of a camera, which is nice, but sometimes I really wish I could say the things I want to say in a more polished way, and that would mean writing shit down. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that. There's obviously options like doing a blog, putting it on the wanted Substack or Medium, or doing something of the sort. And that obviously also means me overcoming more insecurities, because English is not my first language. How good is my English writing? Are my English writing skills? Because there's this weird thing where a lot of say spelling and punctuation and shit like that are sort of reinforced by just reading with your eyes, just encountering it in the wild. Now, I don't do that, right? I listen to my screen reader talking, or I listen to my to audiobooks, and they don't go into punctuation and spelling for obvious reasons. So I have this weird insecurity that I'm not able to actually write English sentences, which I need to overcome. So I'm trying to figure out an idea to how to, write sometimes sort of variations of stuff I'm saying in videos, sort of to complement that. In a way where, the video is basically me giving a presentation on a subject at, let's say, a conference or, well, the internet in this case, and then something written comes out of it that is more like the actual paper that you submit to a journal or something like that. So sort of companion pieces to some of the videos I make, I guess, is something I was thinking about, maybe putting these up on, I don't know, Patreon or somewhere else in a way that they are accessible beyond just, YouTube. And as always, it has to be as simple as possible for me, because I really can't be bothered to, and that's probably an ADHD thing. Like, I really struggle with having to go through a lot of just, administrative stuff, setting up websites, doing all of that stuff. Like, I know how to do it in theory, right? But if it takes more than like half a minute for me to get something done, it gets exponentially more difficult for me to actually continue to struggle through the process. So I'm still trying to figure out where all of that is going. I'll keep you updated as soon as I have something written anywhere. I will, like any kind of article, as soon as I have anything of the sorts, I will definitely let you know here and link it and so forth. But for now, it's just something. I do have another project that, as I said, I didn't want to talk about yet. But I wrote a longish post on the plans and so forth on Patreon today. So those few of you who are actually patrons are now, for once, in a very, very special, privileged group. Count yourselves lucky as part of the elite. And once again, thank you very much for being a patron. If you want to join the patrons, there's a link down below. It may be an interesting month or so if you want to be a patron. The rest of you will have to wait for the actual project, the actual video and stuff that I'm making to be fully assembled. But if you want to be sort of behind the scenes while it is happening, that's going to be over on Patreon. I know it's sort of weird because I've always said that I don't want my content to be behind a paywall where people can't access it if they don't give me money, and I'm still holding to that. I just don't think of this as sort of content yet. It's more like a work in progress, and in this case it does help me work on something with having a few people already in the know, sort of, and being able to possibly offer critique. So there's that. We'll see if it works. Maybe it's just another brain fart that turns into nothing, like so much of my life. But for now, I'm excited about that. And that's sort of all I have for today. I'll try to relax my voice some more. I'll try to come up with a video for maybe tomorrow or on Wednesday, and then things will hopefully calm down some in the next week. We will see if all of that happens, because, life's life, and usually a bit messy. Anyway, thanks again for sticking with me. Thanks for watching all the videos. Thanks for being a patron if you are. Thanks for becoming a patron if you plan to. And, in general, I'll see you around. And, have a good week. Read some good books. It's usually worth it. And I'll see you in the next one. So, cheers.